Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Vibe Nation. Today we're here to watch another video. Today we're here to watch Backrooms Damage Control by Kane Pixels. I'm just amazed to see how far that Kane has grown in his YouTube career. It's like just dropping just these amazing videos, and they don't waste no time getting to 1 mil. So, hats off to you, Kane. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. If you want to watch the original video, links will be in the description down below. And let's go in 3, 2, 1, play.
Mark, this is Team A. Do you read us?
Hey team, this is Mark. I read you. What is it? We need immediate armed support of room 14C. My team and I are being held at gunpoint by a hostile. I repeat, please send immediate armed support to room 14C of your control.
Save for that panel. It should connect.
So they're being held by a weapon. I try to skirt around the actual word because of YouTube, but still, and that sound. So what I'm assuming, based off of this whole scenario and what's been said, that this is probably after the video that they did, or that Kane did a while back. If I remember correctly, the correct name, what is the name of that video? Give me a second, guys. Let me see. Reunion. This is directly after Backrooms Reunion. I remember that there was a commenter that went ahead and made this aware to me that this is being told in a certain order. And he told me before Reunion came into play that the video before Reunion is the informational video where that one guy gets lost in the back rooms. He ends up in that room with the blaring lights and sounds. So I'm guessing. No, I'm not guessing. What that commenter was alluding to is the fact that Reunion takes after the informational video, and then Reunion is what is before Damage Control. Okay, I believe that's where this is the kind of story line that's being told within these 3 videos. So let's get back into it.
There's that.
Yep. I'm guessing that's him. What year is this? This is in the 1990s. So I can understand that, the camera isn't that good. But how are you supposed to catch any any kind of misconduct? How are you supposed to catch anybody with this level of quality? I mean, can't catch me. I'm too fast.
I didn't use Old Spice. I think I smell.
You thought no one could tell?
Fresh this.
This guy was booking it. Like, he was. Oof.
I'd like to thank you all once again for your patience on this. It has been a stressful 15 hours for all of us here, and while he cannot currently be with us, Dr. Beck sends his apologies regarding the numerous inconveniences caused by our decision to keep you here overnight. Now, it appears that the situation has reached a point of some stability. We're still looking into a few things, but I feel that we can now properly address what occurred without running into speculation. What happened last night should not have happened. Not here, not with us. What occurred was a gross misunderstanding that was the result of some severe information mismanagement. Even now, I believe most of you still have an incomplete idea of what took place last night. So before I fill you in, I need to address the fact that there has been information deliberately withheld from many of you on the project. Now, these choices were not made lightly and were done for only the best of reasons. However, I want to make it abundantly clear that following the events of last night, it has been proven to us that that method of conducting ourselves was not viable. So, I'm coming to you now to correct this mistake and begin delivering the authentic order of events as we understand them. On the morning of March 1st, a team of 4 researchers was sent into the complex to conduct their routine layout analysis. George Levy, Marvin Lee, Ronald McCarthy, and Peter Tench. At around 12:25 p.m., the group realized that they had lost track of Tench while traversing a previously accessed branch of hallways. As you'll recall, this prompted an immediate withdrawal of response back to standard, followed by several days of significant search efforts. However, those ultimately yielded nothing, and as far as any of us were concerned, Tench had simply vanished, leaving no physical trace. Now, for obvious reasons, that wasn't something that we could disclose to the public, so roughly 2 weeks following his disappearance, our security team was forced to put together a more acceptable cause of death that would keep attention away from this institute and provide closure to the family. So that is all close to common knowledge, I presume. Not all of you were with us at the time of the incident. However, you're certainly aware of the effects it has had on our internal procedures over the past few months. Regardless, that was where Tench's involvement in this came to an end. Or, at least, that's what we assumed. Because on May 8th, at approximately 5:30 p.m., a motion alert was sent out from the complex, which was closed off at the time. One of our senior engineers was sent down to assess the situation and discovered a male dressed in hazard gear who we were able to identify as Peter Tench. Immediately following this discovery, Tench was moved to a secure room on this floor where, over the following days, a select group of doctors were able to administer a panel of tests in order to determine what had happened to Peter in the 2 months he had been gone. Those tests yielded very little useful information. By all measures, Peter appeared to be in excellent health. However, we were still provided one very useful tool in understanding how the situation unfolded from his perspective. Some of you may recall that on the day of his disappearance, Tench was his team's designated camera operator. Well, when we recovered him, he still had that camera in his possession, and in fact had documented the entire ordeal. The footage will be presented in its entirety later today. However, for the purpose of this discussion, I will only be highlighting key events. This is the hallway where Peter was last seen. They're not in view, but you can hear the others walking behind him. Now, as he approaches the branch on the right here, pay close attention to the audio.
Guys, can you hear this?
They're like people.
Guys, can you hear this? Hey!
Now, I'd like to save the discussion for afterwards, but what you just saw is what we believe to be the moment that Peter was instantaneously transported 2 months forward in time. that abrupt flash you just saw, Tench proceeds back out into the hallway in search of his team, but is without any indication of their presence. The next 30 or so minutes of the tape follow a fairly panicked Tench as he attempts to navigate his way back to the threshold. He does obviously find his way back. However, the threshold appears not as he knows it, but as it appeared on the date of May 8th. And this ties us back to the moment when we recovered him. So, to summarize, from his point of view, he had only been inside the complex for several hours. So to him, all of the new developments surrounding the threshold were completely foreign. Luckily, though, as I already mentioned, there were people available to manage the situation as it unfolded. And over the course of the following days, we were able to properly sit down with Peter and work with him to gain a collective understanding of what had happened. However, there was still the very significant fact that Mr. Tench was considered legally deceased as a result of the cover story, and reversing that would be no easy feat. He understood this and was willing to cooperate while we looked for a way to reintegrate him without raising suspicion. Unfortunately, though, that process ended up taking quite a bit longer than we had anticipated, and all the while Peter was sucked out here waiting idly by. We did our best to keep him engaged, but it is hard to combat the effects of prolonged sensory deprivation on the human brain, and as a result, Peter's mental state took a toll. Not to a degree that was outright concerning at first, but around the end of week 2, we noticed that he was starting to exhibit a number of behaviors common in patients diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia, though we don't have reason to believe that Mr. Tench was afflicted with that condition. Whatever the case, while he didn't express it outright, from what we could gather, he appeared to have deluded himself into believing that he was still inside some sort of illusion created by the complex, and that we were secretly looking to do him harm. This all came to a head on the night of the 22nd, when, while Tench was finally about to be transferred to a temporary above-ground residence, he broke away from us and, using stolen credentials, forced his way back into the complex where he would go undiscovered until just last night, when he ambushed and violently attacked Team B in room 14C, leaving Dr. Bloom in critical condition.
So you guys had him for all this time? Wow. Guess it would make sense. After setting off the alarm, it would make sense that they would have found him and been like, "Hey, where have you been?" Like, you know. Dang, but cover story and wow, this is interesting.
We can presume that during the 2 or so days Tench spent in the complex, he let go of the idea that he could somehow escape through an alternate threshold, but still held on to the belief that all of us here were working to trap him in some way, despite our actions saying exactly the opposite. Immediately after firing a single shot from the Remington 870 to Dr. Bloom's side, Tench fled the scene and headed to the threshold outpost, where he would turn the weapon on several more of you while progressing into standard and through the lower offices. Given the abrupt and chaotic nature of the unfolding situation, it took our security team several moments longer than it ideally should have to figure out what was happening. But thankfully, while Tench was passing through one of the empty labs next to storage, Dr. Maxwell was able to act quickly and managed to disarm him, accidentally discharging the weapon into the ceiling in the process, though. However, Tench still managed to avoid apprehension, fleeing into the maintenance wing and evading our security staff by taking the freight elevator to the surface. Now, this situation could have played out very badly, given the potential number of witnesses around the building at the time. But luckily for everyone involved, as far as we can tell, Tench was not noticed as he exited the property. Around 5 minutes later, our security team made it to the ground floor and began a thorough sweep in the direction of the hillside where cameras had last observed Tench. Now, there's no easy way to say that Saber that
I'm gonna say that they probably took him out of the game. They took him out like old Yeller. I'm assuming, being the fact that this seems to be such a hush hush operation, that I said, well, they can't let him go. They might expose everything that we're doing here. So, I this is just me assuming. I'm only going off of what this story has provided me, and it does seem like this is probably what they're going to end up doing. If he ends up escaping, that's probably what they're going to do.
just stands. I am terribly sorry to inform you all, but Mr. Tench was found deceased halfway down the hillside. The result of an extreme blow to the head. It appears that while he was running through some brush, he failed to anticipate a sudden dip in the ground and tragically fell forward into a large rock. Given the circumstances, it was not something any of us could have anticipated or prevented.
Why do I not believe you? Like, I really don't. Because you went as far as to create a cover story for why this person died the first time. Why should I believe the fact that you said that, oh, he didn't anticipate a fall or a drop in the road, so he fell and hit his head on a rock. Sorry, guys. Like, no, I don't believe you. Not in the slightest.
The tragedy of the entire situation undoubtedly remains, but Dr. Tench, regardless of how troubled he was in his final days, was a brilliant man who gave his all to this project. He would certainly not want us hindering it in his name. What we're doing here is so much bigger than any one person. It is the work of a unified effort, and we need to ensure that that is never lost sight of. That we hold on to the pre-established notion that Peter is and has been deceased. That is done, and there is nothing more to be extracted.
Well, that was Backrooms. That was Backrooms damage control. You know, when you talk about damage control, usually it's somebody trying to make things seem as bad. Isn't as bad as what it is. That's why I don't necessarily believe, coupled with the fact they already made a cover up story for the guy. So I feel like they might be downplaying something heavy, like like the way that this guy is just not alive anymore. For all we know, they probably do still have him, because nobody knew that he was still around until this whole thing unfolded. So yeah, and when he made his first appearance in the reunion, didn't he ask like what the year was or whatever? It almost sounds like he, like, I don't know. It's a little bit weird, but so much speculation. But yeah, guys, that was Damage Control by Kane Pixels. Another great video as well. The whole explanation was pretty nice. I really enjoyed it. The security cam films with it. I was wondering about this cut that they did right in, like around here. Like this cut that they did. I wondered what was about this cut. The quick cut they did.
And we need to ensure that that is never lost sight of. That we hold.
Like, what did the needle mean? What did this cut mean? Like, this, it went by so fast that I wasn't able to completely see what it was. but I find it's a very interesting cut. Anyway, well guys, thank you guys for watching. This has been Vibe Nation. I'll see you guys in the next one. I'm out.